Well, if you don't read, if you don't learn to read fluently, it's really bad, because we live in a highly, highly literate age. Everything is in some form of print. And if you don't learn to read fluently, you're really disadvantaged in all the things you do in the modern world. You just can't function. Reading is like anything that we learn to do well. Tying your shoelaces, playing the piano, brushing your teeth. You get better with practice. And the more you practice, the more fluent you get, the more, in fact, your brain structures become a reading brain, a critically reading brain. And without that, we're really, really struggling in the modern world, because we're so assailed by all kinds of information that unless we know how to process it, we can't cope at all. Well, again, to return to this whole, the way information is presented in the digital era, we have so much going on. There's just text all around us. The problem, though, with this text is that it is not linear. It's very bitty. It's often interspersed with hypertext or images or icons or all sorts of things that break it up, that make it non-linear. If we don't become good linear readers first, that is, have the ability to process text as a logical unity, our interaction with the digital kind of text that we see is really very difficult, because we don't instantly see the logic of the text. Narrative teaches us that texts have beginnings, middles, and ends. And without that, it's very difficult to decipher what's going on a web page, say, or when you're looking at hits, when you've made a search on the internet. You just don't have the critical capacity to consume text intelligently. I think it is essential in the mixed ability, because you have inbuilt differentiation with your graded readers. Teachers nowadays are being asked more and more to differentiate their teaching, differentiate how they're different, high ability, low ability, people with special needs. And it's very, very difficult for the teacher, but a set of extensive readers in your classroom means that you have instant, absolutely instant, differentiated resources. This is a huge asset to the teacher, but more importantly, a huge asset to students themselves. What is a huge advantage for students with dyslexia or other sort of reading difficulties or processing difficulties is that all the books have a CD which has a native English speaker telling the story. So students can follow the story while listening to someone reading the text. And this is incredibly helpful in the processing of text. Not only does it help kids with, maybe more able kids with pronunciation and things like that, but students with reading difficulties are able then to associate the printed word on the page with the oral sound of it. And for dyslexic students, this is a huge advantage. Yes, because the more you read, the better you write. It's as simple as that. It's the more you process text, what you're doing is you're wiring up your brain to the printed word. Reading and writing are not particularly natural activities. We speak naturally, but we don't read and write naturally. And processed text that it goes through the printed codification, the more you are familiar with it, the more it is rehearsed in your mind, the more it becomes the natural form in which to express yourself on paper. And indeed, it also improves speaking skills. Well, I think I would certainly recommend it to all teachers, but I think teachers themselves have to want it. I think that's the most important thing. I recommend it to those teachers who really believe that they want to help their students to the maximum. That is the most important thing. A committed teacher can really bring to extensive reading enormous potential, because not only can he or she fire up their students' enthusiasm for reading, not by saying, you must read, but by saying, here are some books. This is a voluntary thing for you to do. If you engage in it, you will find a better teacher than I am. And you can take advantage of a far better teacher than I am, because the book is always the best teacher.